In this video, we'll be having a look at the top 5 Ubuntu-based Linux distros that you should be using in 2021. While Ubuntu is an amazing distro in itself, these 5 Ubuntu-based distros provide you with an even better computing experience with exceptional user interfaces and stunning features. These distros also overcome some of the disliked things in Ubuntu like snaps, its Unity reminiscent GNOME desktop and some other things. These distros are unique and impressive in every way. They take the best aspects of Ubuntu and bring their own features to the mix, creating systems that are truly remarkable. I've personally used these 5 distros extensively and they can be so much better suited for you and give you a faster performance, intuitive interfaces and just so much more in terms of features. Let's start off with number 5. Pop! OS is a high quality Linux distro made for professionals. Pop! OS is created by Linux computer manufacturer System76 and it comes with a feature set unseen in any other Linux distro. Right out of the box, Pop! OS looks stunning. It looks pleasantly different from Ubuntu. This is easily the best choice for people who love Ubuntu but not how Ubuntu looks, which I guess is not a small number. Pop! OS desktop is gorgeous with super polished theming and icons that are on spot. This desktop is exactly the right amount of colorful. While this might look like stock GNOME, there's so much more to this desktop. One of my favorite features on Pop is this auto tiling. If you're someone who uses more than one application at the same time, you know the hassle of switching between them and organizing them on the screen. Auto tiling on Pop! OS automatically manages the screen real estate between all the open applications by organizing them into tiles and does it plausibly. This is an amazing feature to have for software developers, students and pretty much everybody. This promotes a distraction-free and focused work setting. This is simply the better workflow for majority of people. Auto tiling plus workspaces is an absolute productivity booster setup. Be careful though, working like this can get addictive. There's more to Pop! OS than looks, but you have to agree it looks stunning. System76 has made Pop! OS for its hardware and it also pitches this operating system to critical audience such as software and computer science professionals. This requires that Pop! OS be a high quality product that is dependable, and it definitely is. The LTS version of Pop! OS is based on Ubuntu LTS versions, so it will be supported for the next 5 years and is very reliable for all kinds of work. Pop! OS makes use of the awesome Ubuntu software repos and package manager to provide a high degree of software availability, ease of software installation and management to its users. Along with that, Pop! OS also has Flatpak support by default and snaps are disabled here. Pop Shop, the software store here is really good looking, organized and easy to use. I also like that the option to choose between .deb and Flatpak is right here. Pop! OS is very easy to install. Pop! OS is available in 2 variants, one for computers with NVIDIA GPUs and the other for AMD and Intel integrated. This makes sure that your installation is giving you the best possible performance right after installation, especially with NVIDIA hardware. You'll not need to install any additional drivers. Finally, Pop! OS is the right answer for most people that are not okay with Ubuntu. While bringing many cool things, Pop! OS also leaves behind many disliked features of Ubuntu like the Unity reminiscent GNOME desktop and snap packaging. Pop! OS might just as well be called Ubuntu++. Linux Mint needs neither an introduction nor an argument as to why this is one of the best operating systems we have today. It's an unbelievably good computing system while also being very simple. It's this simplicity that just appeals to its users. Once you get used to this simplicity, you get comfortable with it, you'll never want to switch to anything else. This is probably why Linux Mint has one of the biggest user base and communities today. Linux Mint uses the Cinnamon desktop environment, which is the perfect blend of intuitiveness and elegance. A person who has never even used Linux can just start using Linux Mint. Everything is self-explanatory here and you get really comfortable with Mint because of the familiar interface. But Cinnamon has also kept up with the design trends and care has been taken to ensure that Mint looks modern always. In a time where desktops are getting more colorful, shinier and more complex, Linux Mint provides a clean UI that is also very functional. The fast search and this organized menu are great for productivity. Cinnamon desktop is also highly customizable with themes, spices, desklets and applets. Check out this video for some stunning themes and setups for Linux Mint. Linux Mint as an operating system has also become more and more self-reliant as far as maintaining and caring for the system is concerned. It is more reliable than ever before. Firstly, Linux Mint is very conservative with updates. Its homegrown Mint update provides an additional safety layer while updating the system by providing you with finer control over what gets updated and what doesn't. Along with that, Linux Mint has time shift deeply integrated into the system. Just allow it to automatically back up your computer every now and then, and time shift is so powerful that no matter what happens to your system, you can roll back to a stable and working system. In a fast-changing tech world, change is not always pleasant nor always useful. Desktop environments change, package managers change, how things work change, and not everybody can adjust to these changes as and when they happen. Linux Mint provides an anchor. With Mint, you can be sure that an update is not going to change how your desktop looks, how you install software, or how you use your computer. This particular issue has been one of the biggest reasons Ubuntu is disliked by people. Now, this doesn't mean Linux Mint is stuck in time. No, absolutely not. Linux Mint is evolving continuously, but at a pace that is more comfortable. And even when noticeable changes are introduced, most of the times an option is provided to use the old way. Linux Mint is a no-nonsense system that focuses on what really matters and provides you with a computing environment that you can just get some work done on. You got to appreciate that. On number 3, we have Linux Lite. If raw power and blazing performance are what you want, then Linux Lite is the right thing for you. Linux Lite is a Ubuntu-based performance-oriented distro that ships with a customized XFC desktop environment. Now I know what you're saying, XFC in 2021? I hear you. I myself am not really a fan, but Linux Lite's desktop looks really polished and modern. They have themed the desktop in a very clean and refined way. And even today, when we are talking about responsiveness, XFC is still the king. Linux Lite is an excellent choice for computers that are older and lower powered. Linux Lite uses just north of 500 MB of RAM at idle, and this makes it a great option to breathe a new life into that old laptop collecting dust. Linux Lite has been specifically designed to be very user-friendly and easy to use. It's been targeted specifically at people wanting to shift from Windows to Linux. A good number of people look to Linux because their old computer is very slow on Windows, and if that's the case with you, Linux Lite is just golden for you. It comes with a host of Lite branded applications that make controlling the OS so much easier. Tweaking the desktop, updating the system, installing applications, and even some advanced tasks can be done here with so much ease, even by a Linux newcomer, thanks to all these Lite applications. With Lite software, you can install many popular applications like Google Chrome, Skype, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, and many others with a single click. This is particularly to facilitate Linux newcomers. Then there's Lite Tweaks, which allows you to make deep system modifications like enabling ZRAM, installing TLP, all with a single click. Linux Lite also has a good number of pre-installed applications that make it functional and usable immediately after installation. Overall, if you're using older or less powered hardware, Linux Lite will give you an unbelievable boost in terms of system responsiveness. And it looks good too. And of course, we get a dark theme that looks even better than the default one. There's so much more here with Linux Lite that I'll do a dedicated video on it, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel to catch that video. Second on the list is Feren OS. Feren OS is a remarkably good Linux distro which brings some of the best features from Ubuntu, Debian, Linux Mint, GNOME, KDE, and just the pure brilliance of Feren OS developers. Starting with the user interface. Feren OS features a gorgeous looking remix of KDE Plasma. We get a refreshing new look here with an altered desktop layout, a different menu, and a simpler color scheme. Feren OS has tweaked many things here, making the desktop both simpler and very different from vanilla Plasma. The desktop layout feels new, but it is intuitive and familiar to everybody. Even Windows and Mac users can feel comfortable here. The custom theme and fonts give a unique and polished flair to Feren OS. But that's not all. Feren OS has a homegrown application called Desktop Layouts, which provides you 6 different pre-configured looks that are just as refined. These are not starting templates but fully furnished layouts that come with pre-configured docs. You can choose anything from the Mac look to the good old Ubuntu layout. This feature makes Feren OS appealing to more and more people. Whatever your UI preferences might be, Feren OS has you covered. Feren OS is built to impress and is definitely one of the best looking Linux distros today, and I personally like that it's not overly shiny, just the right amount of elegance. Performance-wise, Feren OS is amazing. Feren uses KDE Plasma Desktop, which is impressively efficient with resource usage. It gives a very fluid performance. You can feel the snappy responsiveness when you're using this system. Even on older hardware, you'll get a good mileage, but run this on anything even moderately powerful and you're flying. Feren OS is very user-friendly. It comes with all the KDE goodies like KDE Connect, which allows you to connect your phone to your computer and use many functions like file transfer and remote control. Feren also has a great backup and restore utility pre-built into it. Transfer Tool allows you to easily back up all your data on your old system and restore it on your new system. This enables you to easily migrate to Feren OS, and since this transfer tool is very simple to use, Linux newcomers too can use it very comfortably. There's a nice little tool here to manage browsers. You can install and remove pretty much any browser out there from right here. Feren uses Mint Update derived from Linux Mint, which helps you manage updates and upgrades more conveniently. We talked about this in Linux Mint section. Feren 2 has Timeshift pre-installed for system backups. Overall, it's got the looks, it's dependable and feature-rich. This makes Feren very easy to recommend. Feren beautifully incorporates some remarkable features from other Linux distros with its own innovations and improvements. The resulting system is just superb. And on number 1 spot, we have Zorin OS. Zorin is one of the handful of operating systems that provides you a complete computing experience. Zorin is a pure desktop and laptop operating system that brings a clean, user-friendly and stable environment for students, professionals and homes. Zorin features a modified GNOME desktop that looks nothing like stock GNOME. We get a very familiar desktop layout with a neat and polished theme. One look at this screen and you just know where everything is and how to navigate this system. We get the Windows 7 layout here, which is probably the best desktop interface till date. Customization has also been made very easy using the Zorin Appearance app. You can try out some other desktop setups from here and also customize the colors and other stuff. In Zorin Ultimate, the paid version, we get few more desktop styles. I'm using the free core version, so I get 3 here. Zorin Appearance. This app here is one of the best examples of why Zorin is particularly unique. In most distros using the GNOME desktop, to change how your system looks, you need to install an application called the Tweak tool. Then you need to install themes and then manually apply them to the shell and then to applications. But on Zorin, basic customization like changing the accent color, setting up the dark theme, it's all made so simple. And with operating systems, simplicity is a huge factor. Zorin Connect is another great feature we get. It is an app based on KDE Connect which allows you to pair your computer with your phone. Zorin makes Linux accessible and less intimidating. A Linux newcomer can install Zorin on his or her computer and just know how to use this. Performance on Zorin is good too, and if you have NVIDIA hardware, you can select the proprietary drivers while booting up the installation medium itself. There's also a Zorin Lite version that uses the XFC desktop, and I'd recommend that for older hardware. Since Zorin is based on Ubuntu 20.04 LTS version, Zorin is very stable and dependable. Zorin has the same simple installation procedure as Ubuntu. Zorin is not an enthusiast project with cutting-edge features, but rather it's a solid system that ships with well-tested packages and provides a long-term, stable OS. I highly recommend this for people switching to Linux as well as long-term Linux users. What's the advantage of using an Ubuntu-based Linux distro instead of Ubuntu or a flavor of Ubuntu? Ubuntu is undoubtedly the most popular Linux distro today. While there's a lot to love about Ubuntu, like its gorgeous user interface, its superior stability, and a huge software repository, there are also things about Ubuntu that don't really get a lot of love, like snaps, the user interface, and Ubuntu changing core components constantly. But the beauty of open source software allows us to take what we love, leave what we dislike, and create distros that are just the way we like. And that's exactly what the distros that we just saw have done. They have taken the best aspects of Ubuntu, built on top of that, and created something beautiful. Ubuntu provides a solid and dependable base. It has more than 50,000 packages in its software repository and has a support period of 5+ years. And it's a great Linux distro on its own. These 5 distros take advantage of all these and create a unique experience for their users. And for many people, that can be a better experience than what Ubuntu has to offer. As I said, that's the beauty of open source software. If you enjoyed this video, do consider subscribing to my channel for more Linux videos, and also do leave a thumbs up. Also, do check me out on Patreon. I thank William Thier for generously supporting me. Next up, check out the top 20 things you must do after installing Ubuntu or a Ubuntu-based Linux distro. That's it for today guys, see you in the next one. This is Linux Techs signing out.